What is up, people? Welcome back to Blue Chip Prospect for another scouting report. Today we will be taking a look into Carter Yakemchuk's game, and oh my, the potential or the ceiling on this guy is as high as it gets in my opinion. We'll talk more about it later in the video, but wow, he's something. Anyways, how about we get this thing started like right now? So first thing first, Yakemchuk is a big 6'3" right shot defenseman who weighs in at 195 pounds or 190 according to NHL Central Scouting, but I can't get past the fact that he looks much heavier than that, like real Western Canadian beef type of guy. Anyways, he's also on the older side of the draft, being born on September 29th in Fort McMurray, so definitely closer to the finished product. This season is actually his third complete season in the dub, so there's that. In terms of ranking, you can basically pick and choose the narrative that fits you. There's some who think that he's almost a second round talent like Ferrari, and some others like Dobber Prospect and Elite Prospect who have him in the mid-20s. And then there's guys like Promman who have him 4th overall and Chris Peters who have him 10th. Pick and choose. For me, I'm definitely much closer to guys like Chris Peters, but if we rewinded a couple months to November or October, I'd be much closer to Elite Prospect. I feel like Yakemchuk from January or February and the one from October or November are just very different players, but maybe that's just me. In terms of stats, it all started last season where he was already very good offensively. He had 47 points, 19 goals in 67 games as a draft -1 player, and he brought that up a big notch this season, posting 71 points, 30 goals in 66 games, being obviously the most productive draft eligible defenseman in the dub, while also being 4th in point per game production over the last 25 years. That's above players like Morgan Riley, Ivan Provorov, or Bowen Byram, while also being 5th in goal in the whole history of the WHL, so pretty good. He also has the most shot on net of any defenders in the WHL with 275 shot on goal, and for good and bad, he's also the 5th most punished player in the WHL with 120 minutes in the box this season. Definitely not all good minutes, but a good chunk of those are just him bringing up the intensity in the game. When you take the overall package of a 6'3" physical defenseman who can skate in the NHL, then go around players one-on-one, shoot the puck with force, defend adequately, you get a high-end to almost elite package. Honestly, the only reason why he doesn't have a 9 in the intangible section, it's the skating. I know some who think it's a strength, but I really don't. I think it's adequate for the NHL and will fall down somewhere in the average, but nothing more. Defense and transition need some work, but not to the extent where it would bring down his profile in my opinion, and the rest he's just got it figured out. So overall, just a high-end profile. Before we turn on the clips, please take the time to like and subscribe if you like what I do, and especially if you come back for it to watch your favorite prospects. It helps me grow the channel and reach more people who could be interested in this type of content, so please like and subscribe. Also, if you're interested, I'm basically taking my video content and make it into articles on my brand new website. I also try to stay as close as possible to what I said in these videos, so if you want to come back to some info about a player, you can just go to the website, click the player, find the section you were looking for since it's separated by attributes just like the vids, and get the info you wanted just like that. It's pretty much fantastic. So the website is thebluechipprospect.com if you want to go take a look. So let's roll the clips. So while I have Yakemchuk skating graded as average plus, it's important to remember that the average in the NHL is already pretty spectacular. I don't think he's there yet, but he's powerful enough and strong enough in his legs that a little skating coaching could really help him get the most of it. He's never going to be a speedster and get the puck coast to coast or explode off coverage to take advantage of gaps, but he's fast enough to play in the NHL. I also don't think he'll ever be very nimble and shake off pressure and walk the blue line gracefully, but again, he's good enough to make it work. But there's a few reasons why I gave him an additional 0.5, and those reasons are the following. He's extremely solid on his skate. Even when moving through contact, he looks like a pinball, being bumped left to right, but just solid on his skates. There's also the fact that he has very good backward skating. He doesn't get burned much. He can match the attacker's speed, at least in the WHL, without any issue, and can cover a lot of ice when matching his skating with his reach. So in the end, what needs to be done, he can do, but don't expect too much more. So when it comes to defense, man, if I made this video in November, I'd be bashing on the guy the whole time, therefore I would not have made it. It's that simple. I 100% understand when people say that his defense is suspect, but it got a whole lot better throughout the season. The first 2 or 3 months I was exasperated every time I watched him. He was always flopping on the ice on 2-on-1s, he was always passive defensively outside of a couple spurts of physicality here and there. Like, he never pressured players to make bad plays or rush their decision making. He was always just standing there somewhat in the passing lane hoping to bat the puck down if they try to pass it his way. On the rush, he let every entry go unpunished, protecting the inside with his stick but not trying to get the puck back or pin the player down and cut the offensive drive right there. But now, it's not perfect. Decision making can still be a little bit suspect, and that extends to his transitional play also, but he's a lot more assertive. He's trying to disrupt plays, pressuring the puck carrier into bad decision and lost puck. Against the rush, if there's entry, he tries to kill the play in the egg and use his reach and his length to get the puck back. He's still very aggressive everywhere in his game and gets himself out of the play by forcing hits and forcing plays in the defensive zone, just like in the offensive zone, leading to a good amount of turnovers, but there was substantial progress. I don't necessarily expect him to become a shutdown defenseman, but his defense will be more than good enough to play well above 20 minutes in the NHL if the offense translates. The next step, I think, is working on making the good reads and the good decisions with and without the puck consistently, and then work at finding the next play quicker. But with his size, his reach, his physicality, his willingness to engage in every battle, I have no doubt it's going to keep getting better, but he'll never be a risk-free defenseman, but at the same time, no one is drafting him for that. When it comes to transitional play, I think the same can be said as his defense. There was work and improvement throughout the season, but there's still a lot of work to be done, especially in decision making. Learning to constantly pre-scan so you don't skate yourself into trouble, or just know where to immediately send the puck once you've retrieved it. I saw many bad plays and bad passes and bad retrievals that at some point I was a little bit concerned, but he cleaned up his work a little bit. But the thing is that when he's on, when he decides to be the best version of himself, he's just unstoppable in transition. He skates the puck himself to the O zone and take the puck to the net himself if he has to. He can split the defense with heavy and accurate stretch pass down the middle or between defensemen to a forward on the move, creating odd numbers, but it's just not constant. He sometimes skates the puck out of the defensive zone and refuses to pass it just for a player back checking, catching up to him and strip the puck from him. He sometimes retrieves the puck just to immediately put himself in bad position or pass it to a player who's covered, and it often comes down to him not making decision with the puck fast enough or not looking and realizing that if he retrieves the puck and moves to the other side of the net, he's skating directly into a forechecker. I actually think his transition game overall needs more work than his defense, but sometimes he's so high-end at it that I settle somewhere in between with an over-average grade. But it could definitely fall well above that or below that. In the end, time will tell. When it comes to offense, Yakemchuk is definitely more of a shooter than a passer, but he's still a very good passer. But whatever he has in mind, he's extremely active in the offensive zone. Your team will need to have players with their head on a swivel because he's always going places in the offensive zone. Don't look for him at the blue line, he's not there. Slight exaggeration, but let's say that he's a little bit unpredictable. The great thing is that he has such high-end, if not elite handling skills for a defenseman that even when he's moving up and down the zone, he keeps the puck on his stick with ease, putting pucks through legs and toe dragging around everyone. He can also cut to the net from a spinorama or even try for a Michigan goal. Even when he moves down the inside from the blue line, he literally makes players fall and lose balance with dekes opening all kinds of space. No joke, there's too many times this season when I saw him open space behind pressure with a toe drag and thought of the way Will Smith created misdirection the same way last season. It's completely bonkers to see a 6'3" defenseman make so many plays with his hands in traffic like he does. So that was the first part of what sets him apart offensively. Then there's his shot. He gets the puck on net so much that even if he had an average shot, he would score a ton of goals anyway, but he has a very solid shot also. He's very good at finding lanes to get the puck through traffic, but he's even better at getting through traffic first and then shoot the puck with an open look on net. But one way or another, he scores a ton and have a heavy wrister. Same with his slapper, it's heavy and hard to control, but he seems to prefer the accuracy of his wrister over the power of a slap shot. But he can use both very effectively, as his 30 goals seems to show. I don't think he's as good a passer or a playmaker as he is a shooter, but he still has very good vision. He's not a top-end passer making seam passes through traffic, but again, he uses his hands to get through players or get through the first layer of defense, and then he have passing options open to him. His shot really has to be respected also, so it opens even more space for him to pass the puck. I've seen some people call his hockey sense under average or not so great, and I completely disagree. I think he really understands really well how to play within his strength and how to take advantage of his tools, and I also think that many of his mistakes are a lack of pre-scanning and also him trying to push for offense and trying to make things happen on a team that couldn't make much things happen and didn't make the playoff in the end. All this to say that I don't think he lacks hockey IQ at all. Overall, he's a player that can make things happen in many different ways in the offensive zone and is very unpredictable. There's always a chance that things don't work, but it's hard to envision a world where none of it translates to NHL and you can't make it work. So this is probably, maybe, might be the last time I put physicality section in the video for Defenseman, because I can basically cover all of this in the defense part of the videos. For the sake of simplicity, I think it's time to say bye-bye, but I'm not sure yet. But anyways, Yakemchuk is big and he knows. He's involved in every scrum, he hits like a train. He will also take himself out of the play to lay a big hit sometimes, so not ideal. He defends his teammates and will visit every player who think they're cool enough to touch his teammates. He boxes out players aggressively. He washes out players' face with his glove if they get a little too happy around his standee. Even offensively, he uses his body to win pucks or to shield the puck to make plays. He uses his strength to get to the inside, and like I said earlier, he just absorbs every hit easily when skating in traffic, keeping the puck and just moving along. So in the end, he's just a very dangerous player. From the offense he creates with his shot and game-breaking ability like his hands, his physicality and aggressiveness all over, the potential is just sky high. If he can bring his decision-making and reading speed up to par in the defensive zone and in transition, I think he has some serious star potential, but it comes with a significant amount of risk. I actually think that he might have the highest ceiling of all these in the draft, but I'm still on the Dickinson and Levshunov as first the out-the-door train, but he's still in the convo with players like Buyum and Perek to overtake that spot. I kinda always prefer defensemen with size, but anyways, kinda crazy the quality of defensemen at the top of the draft this year. I'm kinda left without words. I was watching Buyum this morning before recording this, and I thought to myself that Buyum might be the best D in the draft, so it kinda changes every day. In terms of comparison, as always, I can never find a perfect fit, but he does make me think of a baby Brent Burns. Not as big, not as heavy, and obviously I can't expect the player to be a future Norris-worthy defenseman, but stylistically, it kind of fits perfectly, or pretty well at least. Alright, so this is it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.